The first thing I like to do is ask my guests to introduce themselves, which we kind of did, but introduce yourself, give a little bit about your background, as well as how did you get into the IT field?
For sure. Well, I'm Kenny, aka Mental Outlaw. That's the YouTube channel, of course. As far as how I got into tech, I mean, I've been the family IT guy since, maybe 9 or 10 years old. You know, that's how I guess a lot of people get started in it. With Linux, I first got started with that. Really, it was out of necessity. You know, that's they say that necessity is the mother of innovation, right? So I had this laptop that I got for Christmas, I think when I was maybe 11 or 12 years old. And, you know, it was a cheap laptop, but it was a cheap laptop that many years ago, right? Like I'm 26 now, so we're talking maybe 15 years ago. This thing had a single core, single thread processor, 512 megs of RAM, and something like a 30 gig or 20 gig hard disk drive. And man, this poor laptop had Windows Vista installed on it. Now, those of you who may be a little bit younger, who never worked with Windows Vista, here's the thing, right? They pretty much took Windows XP and then threw this new theme on it called Aero to try to make it look really modern and really sleek and stuff, which might have been okay if you had a desktop or even like a laptop with a Core 2 Duo. My dad had one of those that I think he ended up paying about $1,000 for, and it ran okay on his computer. On mine, it was horrible. And all I wanted to do with this laptop, I mean, there were some other things I did, a little bit of research and stuff for school, but I wanted to play RuneScape. That was like the first game that I was really into that, well, besides consoles, like I had a Nintendo 64 as well. But the first computer game that I really got into was RuneScape. And I could kind of play it if I set everything to minimal settings and like graphics and resolution, all of that to minimal settings, but it would still lag, especially if I was to go into the wilderness, right? And like those of you that know about RuneScape, the wilderness is where you can basically do PvP. So you get killed, and if you get killed, you lose all of your stuff. Well, not really, like you gotta get a skull. So basically, if you're fighting back, then I think you can keep like 3 items or something like that. But anyway, you lose your stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
And I had to figure out a way to get better frames and not just lag and get killed in this game. So that's where I think you can really say my IT journey started, because I had to figure out everything about Windows Vista to try and make it, like, take away everything that was making it lag, right? So I figured out how to get rid of Windows Aero and revert back to, I guess it'd be like the Windows 95 theme or the like Windows 2000 theme, get rid of all the effects. I figured out how to go into the task manager and kill processes. And like, I figured out that you don't actually need Explorer.exe to run, because that, think it's 512 megs of RAM. So that's taking up a good portion of it. So I would kill that and do this and that. And I got maybe like 10 frames more. But then I'm like, man, I want to take it further. I want to get even better frames in this game. And that's when I figured out about Linux. So I first installed, I believe it was Ubuntu, the first distro I installed.
Yeah, that's where everybody started.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you Google like Linux or Linux for beginners, it'll probably take you to that page. And so I figured out how to burn that to I'm pretty sure it was a flash drive. It might have been an actual CD drive, but I'm pretty sure I had a flash drive at that time. Installed it from a live environment. Well, first I went into the live environment to make sure that RuneScape would actually run. And it did, because it was just a game that you play in the browser. And it did, so I'm like, all right, cool. We'll install this, and bam, I was running RuneScape off of that.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And then, spent some time going back and forth. And then, of course, got more into, more concerned with privacy as I got older. Because, like, I feel like when the Snowden leaks happened, I'm like, you know, obviously it's not just me that took it seriously, but kind of within my circle, I was one of the only people that took it seriously. I'm like, man, they really are looking at everything that we do, and like they backdoor all these operating systems. And I just don't like that level of access, like the government just being able to go in and do whatever. I mean, look, I'm not, building bombs in my backyard or nothing, but regardless, I don't want everything being spied on and all my information being collected. And with Linux, for the most part, it doesn't really do that.
Mm-hmm.